Hey there, how you doing? So, just thought I'd come out for a nice walk this morning. We've been out already, took the little doggies out there, 6 o'clock this morning, took them along the woods. Nice walk along there, beautiful, beautiful sunshine. Going quite cloudy now, like a lot of streaky things flying out the backs of planes. Hey, how weird is that? So a bit grey now, but still it's nice enough. It's a bit of a cool breeze, but not bad whatsoever. So I just thought I'd come along and have a look at the old North Sea. See if I can see over to Norway over there, a little bit, I think. There's our windmills, creating all that electricity for about 2 batteries. There's the harbour entrance there. Nice. Quite quiet today, only 2 or 3 people out there with the dogs. Nice and flat looking. And there's the other harbour there. Where the old submarine base used to be during the war. But lovely. Very nice. Nice and quiet. So last week I had a meeting with one of my colleagues, shall we say, like, you know, he's been in the financial industry and asset protection for many years, you know, between them, the two things there, probably about 40 years. He's great with helping people in debt, getting not just crushing the debt, but you know, if you're in, like, let's just say, you know, a very bad position, and he can help, you know, and also with credit score correction and stuff like that. You know, he's very good, does things a lot differently to what, you know, the way that I do it, but everybody's different. So like, say if somebody's like worried, for instance, you haven't got like the fight in you to do, you know, like send off a conditional acceptance and then send off saying, you know, I'm going to report you to the ICO, you haven't been compliant with GDPR or DPA. Not everybody wants to do that. So some people need different work, you know. So that looks like some seals out there. You wouldn't be able to see them if I pointed anyway. There's been quite a lot of seals out lately. Around the back, behind where I showed you the harbour is, there's like an island with a lighthouse on, St Mary's, and that massive seal colony there, you know. Looks like there's some swimming out there. I had a little look at the ducks this morning. Some babies been late coming this year, and not as many as last year, which is a shame. But yeah, anyway. So, but what he actually does as well is he can assist. Or now he's showing us how to do it. I've got all the paperwork and everything to do it. But if I needed to pass anybody on, if so, I can just pass them on to him, and he can help. And what he does is helps with, if you needed it, and you can go into what they call voluntary bankruptcy, and that crushes all your debt, gets rid of everything. And it's not always as bad as what it actually sounds. You know, like, oh, I've been made bankrupt. Well, you make yourself bankrupt and get rid of all the debt. It just gets squashed. You know, and that can include any HMRC debt as well, taxes from there, you know. So could be, you know, it is a good solution if and when it's needed to be. But what he does is, and he's shown us how to do it, and it's amazing, like, you know, how you can do these things. What he does is he creates a private trust, and on the private trust, you know, he puts the assets into the private trust. Well, when the assets go into a private trust, that means that they are not in your estate. This is a bit that people get really confused with, you know, and say, oh, well, you know, how does it work? The assets that you have in your estate, okay, belong to your estate. Your capital name is your estate. So your estate is the thing that actually goes bankrupt. Your estate is the thing that actually gets taxed. Okay? So he removes, or we remove as well, using a trust instrument, the assets from the estate and place them in the trust. Now, what you've got to remember is, okay, that this is what they have been doing forever. Not for decades, not for centuries, forever. This is what they have been doing. Now, if you look at sort of like all of these millionaires and billionaires and everything like that, you know, they create companies and then get rid of companies, bankrupt companies left, right and centre. They don't care. You know, they don't lose anything. So, you know, the thing is, like, all of these wealthy, mega wealthy millionaires, billionaires, none of them own anything. This is the biggest thing. And I get like tons and tons of questions. Oh, what about my name? I need my name to be on the property. I want it to be my property. Well, lose it then. These wealthy people, they don't have their name on anything. You know, I'm going to show you this beach here. It's beautiful. See all the way along. Right up on that Northumberland coast. And over there behind the sea somewhere, there's Norway. Apparently, if you go in a straight line. There's the entrance to the harbour that I was saying. I'm going to go down there now. But anyway, so, like, you know, and once he has created or the private trust, all right, then he's removed all of the assets from the estate going into the trust. So now they are legally owned by the trustees. You know, that's the legal ownership. Obviously, equity rules trusts, and equity always sees the beneficiary as the true owner. All right. However, legally, for a bankruptcy or for debt, they're owned by a trustee. You know, completely segregated from the trustee's private and personal possessions. It's a different thing. So a trustee can't be sued for, you know, stuff that's in they're acting as trustee for. Again, another common question. That's why I said it. You know. So when you actually go bankrupt and you have to go into the court, it's only an office. You don't. It's not a big court building and there's juries there and witnesses. It's just an office. You go in to see the guy, the judge in the office, and here you have your application that you've paid for. I think now something like 600, I can't remember, maybe £685, and you pay that fee to the court. You pay the court, you get the application form, you complete the application form, and then you hand it in to them. The judge gets it, you go in, see him in his office, he says blah 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 blah, stamps it, gives you it, and then off you go, and that's it, finished, you're bankrupt. Have a look at the harbour. There's the harbour entrance. There's the other side. The tide was fully in this morning when we went out, so we went out on the other side of the river, a little bit further up. I'm going to go up there now. Gorgeous. A little bit of the dunes. yeah, so you know, he stamps it, gives you the form, it's all completed, and that's your bankruptcy form. And you get your bankruptcy number, which could be like, you know, if it was this year, it could be like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2023, or whatever number it would be of the people that went bankrupt in his court, that year. Alright, so you've got that, and then you can send that number off. If you were doing it yourself, obviously, when he's doing it, he does it all for you, and then, you know, you send it all off to your creditors and say, well, look, you know, we're bankrupt. Here's the bankruptcy number. If you need to speak to anyone, you go and speak to the official receiver at the court. Well, I've done all this myself, and the first time I actually did it, it was a bailiff, funnily enough, who actually helped. This is many years ago, in the 90s, very early 90s, and I actually sold them the switchboard for their office. And I was just chatting and everything, and you know, talking about what he did and stuff like that. And I was in a position then, you know, through a divorce, etc., you know, a lot of debt. So and he went, don't worry about that, just go bankrupt. And I'm like, what? And he explained it. He went, no, and at the time it was only, I can't remember now, but it was a few £100, not a lot. And he went, yeah, just fill it in. He says, they can't touch you. You know, what assets have you got? Do you own any property? I didn't own anything. Still don't. Right, but I didn't then either. Oh, it's boiling here. So I'm up now. I'm in the shelter of the breeze. It's boiling. Wow, lovely. I've got a big, well, not big, but I've got a coat on. You know, so and he says, well, they can't do anything if they haven't got any assets to take away. Well, what about the job? It doesn't matter. You must have a job. You're allowed to have a job. You're allowed to earn an income. They can't touch your income. Even if you were self-employed, can't touch it. You know, a normal job. I'm not talking about if you were like a millionaire and you had assets, then they get taken. You know, and that's how he explained. That's what happened. And then a year later, that's it. You finished it. You get discharged out your bankruptcy and you start again. So your credit history is fine. It starts from the beginning again. Okay. And that's still the case now. And if that's what you needed to do to reprieve yourself, say if you've got tons of debt, right? Now, if you do have a home, which I didn't, like I say, I don't have anything. It's a good way to be. Mine's kind of accidental, but like I say, the elite do it anyway, and they make sure they don't own anything. Then there's nothing that they can take. But if you did have a home, right, then you could create the private trust. Now, my colleague, he does this regularly, and he creates these private trusts for them. And so you can walk along there and not get pushed into the river by the nettles. So then the asset is in the private trust, and then he writes the notices to the courts and the official receiver, walking very slowly. This is only about a foot wide, this harbour wall, and there's nettles and thorns stinging me and scraping me to bits. Ow! Ow! Yeah, so then what happens is they write down the assets. And the assets, they don't put anything in because they've removed them and put them in the private trust. Now this is what happens. The courts and the official receivers who work for the courts, alright, they write and they're saying, oh, hang on, we've checked on the land registry, and on the land registry it says that Fred Henry Smith, good old Fred, he owns this house of 123 Smith Street. Alright, so we want to take that house. That's what they try and do. So what happens is that we write to the receiver and we explain this private trust was created blah blah blah, so the well before the bankruptcy date, so the asset does not belong to the estate of Fred Henry Smith. The land registry is not a governing body. It is a government body, but it's not a governing body. And it is not an authority on bankruptcy. It is simply a collector of information, and it supplies information, nothing more, nothing less. So nothing to do with this bankruptcy, and nothing to do with the estate of Fred Henry Smith. Alright, and that's how it works. And absolutely no time ever in all of the years that this has been done has the courts or the official receivers ever been able to touch anyone's assets that were in a private trust. Now here's the thing, pay close attention. When these private trusts are created, they are private. The private trust, no matter what legislation that anybody tries to create, the legislation does not mention private trust and express private trust does not need to be registered with the RTS or HMRC or anyone else. Never was, it isn't now, never has been. And we're talking about very recent cases as well. Since this changed, this new legislation, still nothing that they can do. It is what it is, and it's using their law, right? You call it law, and it is just legislation, you know, to back it up. And they created everything, you know, not us. We're just doing what they've told us. Okay, and that is how it works. Now the trusts are very simple. They don't get complicated. If you had more than one large asset, so say 2 houses, 3 houses, you need a separate trust for each. Especially in this case, if you were going to do a bankruptcy thing, you know. And it can be the same as, you know, just you know, it's your voluntary bankruptcy. But if you were going to get forced into bankruptcy, say by a council or whatever, then you can do the same, you know, create these private trusts. Now you get a lot of people trying to tell stories about what makes it private and what makes it not private and all that, you know. And I think 99.9% of it is just, again, fear mongering, fear porn, trying to confuse you, trying to keep everybody scared, and also ego, trying to make things like you know, everything should be my way or nothing. And these trusts that are working every single week, and it's written out, you know, and it starts off and it's talking about the person, the first person, the second person, the third person, etc., etc., with the full capital names in, you know, as beneficiaries. And I know that you've got all of the snides and the shills and the little Peter Pants and runaway and say, oh, it's a public trust, you're gonna lose everything. Do you know what the difference between a public and a private trust? You know, on a public trust, statutory trust, when they've created them and they do that and they go into, even though it's still public, or it is public, it's still a trust, and then you register it with the RTS or the trust service. You still don't lose your assets when it's in a trust. It's still a trust. Honestly, the nonsense that gets spouted around just to try and keep everyone in fear and steal your money is just ridiculous. Yeah, but anyway, so that's how these trusts are created and work. And you know, I'm talking about like valid proof of work, time and time again, week in, week out, with the courts and with the official receivers, right? Not sitting in an office, all right, or sitting down the pub saying, yeah, my trusts are great, right? This is like proof of dealing with courts literally knocking them down, flattening the court, knocking the official receivers down who work for the court. Alright, and the land registry's got nothing to do with it. Yes, it might be handy to change the land registry if you wanted to stop the council, for instance, trying to search the land registry to see if you were worth trying to sue, because that's all it's for. They actually have special companies, you know. I was dealing with one just before, I can't remember what the actual name of the companies are now, but they actually do searches. They're like private detectives, so they'll go and search on there, find out everything about you, and they can find everything about you. You know, electoral roll helps them, land registry will help them, and they'll find out if you have assets, if you have you know, savings in banks, if you have pensions, if you have property, right, that your name is on the land registry. But right, that can just bring it to the forefront. However, if you've created a private trust, or had, you know, like my colleague created them for you, like in the way that they're done, okay, then it removes them out of the estate anyway, so they still can't win. All right, so I say they're only dealing with information from the land registry, simply an information provider. And this is what, you know, I'm not making this up. I'm not like saying, oh yeah, well, you know, we made up this story. This is what is happening every single week with the courts, with the bankruptcies. Proven methods. And you know, through our colleague, it's still happening every single week, and will continue to happen every single week. And it's getting extremely busy, unfortunately, because of all of the nonsense that they're putting everybody through, and the interest rates for the mortgage are just going to fly. Well, they're already flying, aren't they? You know it, don't you? The ones that have got mortgages and are paying interest. Your mortgage payments are flying up now, aren't they? And they're going to go higher and higher, because we're getting closer and closer and closer to the collapse of the fiat currency, which has been manipulated and created. They've been working on collapsing it since they put it in place. This fiat, this one, because, you know, they changed many fiats, but this one, right, for about 70 odd years, you know, so they did the Bretton Woods Agreement 1944, getting ready to collapse it when they needed to, so they could put even more control on everybody, which will be the CBDCs. So it's all coming, it's all happening. And the thing is, right, that this is the distractions are going on left, right and centre. And if you think that the distractions are simply isn't this nice under here? Turn this around, let you have a look. See the little streams over that side there. We got a picturesque little house up there. There's another one behind those trees. It's a public footpath there, so I wouldn't want to live there. But yeah, look, go and just get into nature. Lovely, isn't it? There's a doggy coming. Oh, it's not going to eat me. Hello, you. Hiya, you alright?
Good, you?
Yeah, lovely day, innit?
Yes.
Let's go down here. Hopefully you don't slip. Get onto the through the nettles. Ow, ow, ow. And go on to the these are the old salt marshes, and the we used to have the bottle factories up by where the church is up there now, where I just walked past. I didn't show you the church. And these were the salt marshes, and they used to export salt from the harbour, and coal and bottles from the harbour. There was mines everywhere as well, all around us, surrounded by coal mines, and they're still there as well. I mean, they're empty, like as in there's nobody in them, but they've blocked off all of the shafts, but there is still billions of tons of coal in all of them. But of course we're all told now that kills everything. I'd like to see how anything would have survived without carbon though. It's all this greenery that you're seeing here. Without carbon, this would all be dead. Without carbon, if they got it to 0 carbon, this would just all be brown and dead, along with us. Yeah, so you know, if you were in a position where like you needed or had the need to think, well, I need to get out of this massive debt, I'm stuck, they're going to take everything from me, well, we can assist you with that. And the bankruptcy is not as scary as it appears. I've done it twice. The last time was in 2007, which is when they slipped, well, 2008 when they changed the law, we'll call it law so that you get what I'm saying, about the banks. That's when they put the banks, the law into place in the banks after the 2007 and 8 crash. That's when we literally lost everything. I did actually have property then, but not anymore, and I never will again. I haven't got anything to put in a trust, you know, but like, I've just left it. Never had any feeling or desire to try and own property again after that. But you know, that in 2008 when they put that law into place, again, just remember, we'll call it law, I know what it is, that the banks can do a bail-in and take all your money no matter what. And that's, you know, obviously the crashes that they do are all man-made, they're all, you know, they're planned, and like, we're going to do it in this date so we can get them ready for the next one, and blah blah blah. So this is coming. So I mean, you know, there's a lot of countries that have already got rid of the dollar. There's a lot of countries that have already outlawed the dollar, and if you get caught with them, you know, you can go to jail. Obviously our media is not going to tell you that, you know. So all the media that is all just a pure distraction. I don't know if you ever used to watch the old American wrestling. I used to call it WWF when I was younger. Never really watched it, it's just too crazy for me. But I think they call it WWE now, World Wrestling Entertainment or something. Same thing, all fake, all good fun plots of the good guy and the bad guy fighting, and that's exactly what politics is. This is exactly all of the stories that you hear in like Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson, and then they do all these crazy things and slag each other off, and then they go and have a drink with each other, like, you know, down the parliamentary bars where it's like 10 pence a pint, or, you know, whatever it is, and you know, because it's all subsidised, you know. So it's just a pantomime, I mean, truly. So now it's all set up to like depopulate, alright, which is, if you look now, again, saying that they didn't want a war in Europe, but we have, you know. Hiya. And oh, what have a duck flying up. That's a male. Yeah, so, and again, it's just like, you know, that oh, there's another duck, another male. See, there's a mother over there with her little babies. Yeah, but like, you know, that war that they've got in Ukraine, and like the media telling you sort of like how evil Putin and everything is, it's a complete and utter setup. Everything that's said on the news is a complete and utter lie and joke, but it's not funny, you know. There's the mother sitting on the bank with her little babies. Seen her there this morning, sitting on the bank. I'll turn it around so hopefully you can see. See our little baby's by her? I think she had about 6. Lovely, innit? Sitting in the sunshine. I seen them yesterday as well. They were like swimming up and down the river. But that's the only one that I've seen. I had another one that I've seen with bigger babies. They're tiny ones. So she must have been hiding the one with the bigger babies for a few weeks. But that's the only 2 sets I've seen this year. And it's nearly July now. So it's been a lot quieter. But lovely to see. And just on here the other day, right, bouncing around right here, there was like some deer. First time we seen them was a mother with the little boy, and then she would have been knocking about somewhere hiding in the bushes, but then I seen him a couple of weeks later, like on his own, the boy. His little antlers growing. Yeah, a lot of deer up here, you know. And go behind these trees over there, like behind me, go up there, go up the hill, and yeah, you see loads of them. And before we moved here, we lived further in the country, not near the beach, and used to see them all the time just outside the house, just actually in the back garden by the fence, eating the bushes. And the pheasants used to be in the back garden. And my neighbour, who I used to teach, you know, used to be one of my kickboxing students, and he had a hen house. And the fox got in, and one Christmas morning it was, and ate all his chickens. That's a shame. You know, and used to come and put eggs on my car, just out at the back. Put them on my bonnet for me. Used to have an old egg box. Obviously I didn't eat them, so I'd give them to somebody else though. But that was nicer, wasn't it? It is hot down here now. Just see, because this is like in a little valley. We've got like the trees and the hills going up on both sides, so it's like very sheltered. So when it gets really windy, I always come down here to walk the dogs because it's not as windy down here. But now, when there's only a little wind anyway, by the beach there was a cool breeze. Now everything's just boiling. But lovely, but nice. I was going to go up and walk up the hill, but I'm on the other side of the stream. I might cross over when I get to the bridge and then go up and see if I can see some of the cows up there. But yeah, those distractions with all these like politicians and everything, it's all just a game, right? You just ignore everything that you hear on anything, any media whatsoever, ignore it all. But it isn't just the media, right? This so-called, they call themselves, remember this, the word truth is an opinion, all right? The only thing that's true is true. If you say truth, it's an opinion. That's why in court they say, like, promise to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's just saying, I'm going to give you my opinion, all of my opinion, and nothing but my opinion. So this so-called truth community is an opinionated community. By God it is. And like, that is the biggest distraction of them all, because they're actually looking at it and saying, well, you've got a section of the community who won't watch the TV, won't listen to the news, so we need to distract them as well. So then you've got them all going in distraction, you know, on that way as well. It's all a waste of your own energy. You have to get yourself and go within and seek the creator inside of you, and that is where you're going to find the peace. And then what you've got to do is you've got to try and separate yourself from the matrix. Now when I'm saying separate yourself from the matrix, you have to do that in a way where you can actually be connected to them in a way that you protect yourself, which you can do through trusts, through private trusts, exactly what they do. Okay? But what you need to do to control them, it's pointless getting yourself stuck on universal income, which is what they're wanting to do to everyone, and on the CBDCs, and that you've got no, you will be then lost beyond lost. Okay. Oh, it's hot. So the only way to actually get like any kind of control of the system, to try and you'll always be connected to the matrix. If you can't suss out that you have to be public and private, living both sides of the coin, you're never going to get anywhere. So you can create the private trusts, you can be private, you can be a man or a woman, right? Which you are, a man or a woman, but you keep volunteering accidentally to be a person. You're not a person. You have a person, and you can use the person. You can use your Monopoly piece on the board of Monopoly, the Matrix board of life. And it's easier to do if you start to be above the universal income breadline, right? So you need to see how to do it and actually get above, right, that level and make more money, right? I know it's not money, it's just currency, and it's all going to go away in one way, shape or form, right? But unless you do something about it and you get yourself stuck on that universal income on a pure CBDC with nothing to protect you from their manipulation, then you're finished. And that's coming so fast, it's scary, you know. So next month, that's July 2023, the FedNow system was going to be launched. The FedNow, that means the Federal Reserve, okay? That's the central bank that is running the United States financial system. Exactly the same people own it that own the Bank of England. Alright, it's not federal, it's not governmental, it's privately owned for profit. The same as the Bank of England, the same as all central banks. Alright, by the 13 families, okay, headed up by, or at least fronted I should say, by the Rothschild cartel. But you've got to start learning how to actually deal with it, rather than trying to see this. Do you know what? People say, oh, I'm going to get out of the system completely. I'm going to remove myself from the system. All right. Let me show you where you're going to live. You're going to live there. That's where you're going to live. That's the only way to get 100% out of the system with no money. Right? And that's what you're going to eat. Actually, nettles are okay. You got nettles there. You can actually make good pesto. You can make cabbage. Well, like, you know, like a cabbage type thing. You can make tea and wine and beer. And here, this one, all right. I can see a little bit further along over there. There's some sticky willy. Okay, again, very good herbs, good for pain, good to make tea. But this is where you're going to have to live. Okay. You're going to have to go and get yourself, or either that or climb up a tree. Live up a tree somewhere. Up one of them. But I know, and you know, that's never going to happen. Yeah? So you have to try and split public and private. You have to try and work with the matrix, but not allow them to control you 100%. Don't listen to any of the nonsense that's on the TV or in the news or on the radio or even online, and all of these so-called truth channels that are telling you. No, I tell you, one of the funniest things I've seen lately, talking about this thing called status correction. Alright, somebody saying, oh, that I had charged them for doing a status correction. What is a status correction? That doesn't even make sense to me. There is no such thing in the planet as a status correction. You were created. I'll say God, right, because then you're going to know what I'm talking about. I don't like that word, but let's just say that that's the word we're going to use for you. You were created by God. God created you in a status. What is there to correct? What can you correct that God created? Nothing. You are what you are. You are man and woman, created by God. How How can you correct that? I definitely can't correct it. Hang on, I'm going to climb over a sty here. And I definitely not only do not help you to correct your status or anything else, and I definitely don't charge you money for it either. But there you go. What you have to listen to, the BS that gets pumped around by egomaniacs. No, the cows are right over the other side. Thought I'd pop up and see them, but they're right over on the other side. About 9 o'clock, which unless they move it, the farmer like last year was coming out at 9. There's some pheasants knocking about, and he put all the food up at the top here for the cows. So, and they get a bit antisocial if you went too close to their breakfast, you know. So we wouldn't go too close. But anyway, so like I'm saying, like, yeah, you definitely can't correct your status. You either know you're man or woman, or you don't know you're man or woman. And if you don't know you're man or woman, you don't know you were created by God, then there's no one going to help you, and there's no one can help you. And you know, there's nothing that we can do anyway. But you're not going to get anything corrected. Your status was created by God, and no one, including you, can correct it or change it. But you can develop it, and you can sort of like control more of the matrix than a full-on, full-blown, head in the sand person, right, can. And that's by not only knowing thyself as man or woman created by God, although I like to say the creator, but I'm saying the words for you. But you need to like get so like you can actually create more income, so you can move above like that universal income status where they're gonna like take everything from you. Now the this own nothing and be happy thing from old Schloushy, like that is gonna work in generations, not like in the next couple of weeks. But like I said, like the Fed Now system's coming into place, right? That is the next stage or next step of the collapse of the US dollar. And the US dollar has been the reserve currency since 1944 in the Bretton Woods Agreement. Okay? So when they created that, all of them countries, which is the second Bretton Woods Agreement, 1944, when the first one was before then, but there was around 200 countries anyway that went bankrupt and accepted the US dollar as their federal reserve. Now, though, many countries, right, have been dumping the dollar because they know it's going to collapse. Now, why is that not mainstream news? Well, you know why, because they need to control you, all right? So the collapse is coming, and it's coming at such a speed, and they're just trying to hide everything as possible until one Friday, all right, in the evening, it's going to collapse, and then the banks will shut and the banks won't open, and it won't be for a few days, you know. It won't even be for a few weeks. It's going to be for a few months. So nobody knows when exactly, but I do know that the Fed Now system goes live on the 1st of July. So they are now going to, everything is going to be, like I say, PayPal, for instance, it'll now be Fed Now. All the payment system will all be going to go through them. And, you know, if you think they can't do it, then you're not paying attention. Ah, oh, country smell. Cows, cow pats. Poof. This is gorgeous. So, you know, this is flying at you in the speed of light, and you know, everybody that's either paying attention to all of the shills and, like, you know, the nonsense that's going in that community, you're just as blind to it as, you know, everyone living in these streets that just like go to the 9 to 5s and come back and, you know, put on the news and then read the newspaper while they're waiting for the news to come on. No different. Blind. Not aware whatsoever. So you got to look at different ways of actually been able to create income, even if it's just a side hustle. Now, not everything is for everyone. I went in 2018. I first started selling online, actually, like the martial arts, self-defense courses and fitness courses in 2006. Partnered with a few people who had massive followings, like not online followings at that time, didn't exist. You know, and we did very well. You know, that could have been a good side hustle if we'd have continued with it. But the property thing sort of like got my mind taken off everything. But then, right, when I came back from Spain, it was 2012. Now we went bankrupt in the 2007, so we just went to Spain. And early 2007. But I was still investigating and studying like online marketing, online selling, and you know, was doing that while we lived in Spain. Still had the martial arts gym in Spain, and when we eventually came back, which was 2012 December, we moved to Bedlington, which is I mean, like, I'll just turn around. This is what you could see when we lived at. This was it. Your front window, it looked like that. And actually, the back window, a little bit further away, but it looked like that. You know, you know, I loved it up there, just the middle of nowhere. Get out great walks with the dogs. But anyway, it was still there. That was like learning, not only that on about like the straw man stuff. That was like in 2013. And then obviously still looking at ways of, like, looking at everyone who lost their property the same as we did in 2007, you know, thinking, I knew it was on purpose, and I was just figuring ways of finding out how the financial system worked, because I had been a mortgage broker before I opened up the martial arts gym. So I opened up the gym in 1994. So before that I was like well, we were selling switchboards, telephone systems, which is how I met that bailiff. But before that I was actually a mortgage broker. Terrible, but there you go. And I just knew it was all fake, and so that's what made me sort of like really sort of like look into it and be studying it more and more and more. And I was thinking, well, you know, that's why I got into like more on the trust side, because like we lost in a week over £1 million worth of property, or just about £1 million worth of property. And I think, and I'm not trying to say I'm anything special or anything, but you know, but I think the majority of people are weak, and I think the majority of people could have literally crumbled and never recovered, possibly even to the, you know, point of ending it, suicidal, you know. I'm talking about, like, you know, we were like sitting on a mattress at one time waiting to get a flight to go to Spain, and we had absolutely no, the only thing we owned was what was in our suitcases. They're true, you know. And that's not the first time I've been homeless. I've been homeless even in a worse position than that before, walking around with bags on my shoulders. This guy walking down the street, he goes, "I love you, bad people." What? What a thing to say. Anyway, weird. I'm going to show you this obelisk in a second. Yeah, the reason why I don't like the word God, because this is a dog's penis. So they're God. This is like, because the elite, that had a huge house over here, we're going to go past. And here is their obelisk. which is them giving praise, and there's two of them, but the other one fell down, and they're in a direct line on a ley line, and they've got a church dating back, right, they wrote a Norman church dating back to like about 900 BC, I think it was. So private land, notice, private land, keep out. I'm not going in there, I'm just going to show them the obelisk. Turn it around. So there you go. There's an identical one on the other side, which is right over there behind the tree line, in a direct line with it, but it's collapsed. There we go. Wow. Yeah, it's fun. Lovely out here, isn't it? So anyway, I've been looking at various ways of like making money online, and have been for like since like 2005 and 6. And I went to I'm sure it was 2005. I went to Wembley, but like in the conference centre, not the football ground. And they had this massive conference, I suppose, right? It was just teaching everyone on how to, you know, do this. I can't remember, they got a special word for it, but it's marketing anyway, marketing business. And this was not online at the time, it was like a mail order type of thing. I can't remember the exact term that they used, but it was all marketing anyway, and that's where I like met partners, where we partnered up with people to do martial arts and self-defense DVDs there were at the time. Can you still get DVDs? I think we've got a DVD player. I know I've got DVDs, but can you still buy them? Or is it all just digital now? I don't know. But anyway, and then when I came back from Spain, I went, found this guy called Russell Brunson. Probably a lot of you have heard of him before. Anyway, he's really big into funnels. His first selling product was like a potato gun, on how to fire these potatoes, right? Totally different to the potato gun that you would think that you would have when I was a kid. You used to get these little potato pistols, and you would stick it into a potato and pull it out, and it would have a tiny piece of the potato in, and you would fire that at your friends. It was just like an air pistol thing, you know, but only fired potatoes, not pellets. But his was a huge, like a cannon. But anyway, and I was following him for a while, learning all his systems, and then I went over to Nashville 2018. I went on to a course. It was all about like how to do all this online marketing. It was all online then. He's a big online guy. This guy's a mega multi-millionaire. So I went to Nashville in 2018. I went on that course, which led me to go to Nashville in January 2019. Learning all about like these funnels, and I already had my products, so I was already selling them, and I was just learning how to do it better. And these people, I was meeting people that were grannies, and they were now, through learning how to do this, selling knitting patterns online and making a good living. There was yoga practitioners, there was fitness experts of all levels, you know. There was quite a lot of martial artists there as well, quite a lot of like boxers, you know, that were now selling these fitness programs or boxing programs and all that type of thing, you know. All sorts of stuff like that, and you're learning how to do like all of these lists, mailing lists, and autoresponders, and these Zapiers, and getting all these zaps to automate all these systems. And I'm still completely bamboozled by a lot of it, and I actually have to get others to do stuff for me, because I try sometimes for ages and ages and ages, can't do anything, and then I'd have to go in. But you can go into places like upwork.com or fiverr.com, and you can get people to do it for you at very low prices, and they do a great job. You're doing all these things, and you can get your Zapiers to do your zaps, which connects all your systems together. It collects all of these things, and you know, and then you can start like selling your knitting patterns, or your sewing, or your hydroponic systems, or your how to get reflexology, how to do that, and like how to like grow grapes in your garden, and how to grow vegetables in England without them all dying in your garden. Think of the skills that you have. What about all the spiritual people that like could be doing like readings and stuff like that, but doing it on a way that you can actually run it more along the lines of getting these, what they call funnels, not websites, they're funnels, and it funnels them into like this process where they can get the correct information to decide, and then once they've been done, you're using your Zapier to zap them into a list, and then the list can give them information that they enjoy and that they want, right? And they call it like a soap opera sequence. You learn all this. Now you need to learn this if you want to start making income. That's so like even if just like a side hustle, to try and move away from the matrix, to control it. A guy called Andrew Tate, right? Now you might know him, you might love him, you might hate him. He's a kickboxer as well. Don't think of his personality, because he has an online persona that sells, all right? That's what he uses. We know people who are staying with him now, and kickboxers and everything like that. We're very well connected all around the world. I've got like friends and contacts and colleagues all over the world. I've fought myself professionally all over, and amateur, all over the UK and Europe. Trained like in many parts in America, you know, extremely well connected. And even in Spain as well, when we're there, we got connected with all the martial arts gyms, be it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and anyway, digress. But the thing is, what I'm saying is that you've got the ability where you can actually like turn your skills, and it's like your secrets, call them your secrets. I think Russell Brunson calls them something like that, secrets and something like that, sell your secrets, can't remember, but it was many years ago, and I did the course with him. And then went on to go to Nashville, spent the week there at this massive conference centre. As soon as you went out the conference centre, that's all you could listen to was country music, every single day, all the time. Doesn't matter, you went for lunch, country music, you went in to get your dinner, country music, got up for breakfast, country music. Oof. Was in the airport waiting to go home, country music. It's alright if you like country music. I'm not... you know, I don't hate it, but I wouldn't go out and buy it. But anyway, and do you know what? I was doing some trading last night. Now, you see, the thing is, like, what you've got to, not everything's going to be for you, right? So you're looking at the crypto markets, you've got literally 50-50. Half of the people on one side saying that crypto is going to take over the world. The other half on the other side are saying that all crypto is going to go to zero, which I think it will. But like, you know, and it'll disappear. So half of them are saying it'll go to zero and disappear. The other half will say it'll go to zero when the dollar collapses and when they shut all the banks, which will probably be for about 3 months. Make sure you're really scared and panicky, and you'll be fighting over more than toilet roll in the aisles. And but one half say once it's gone to zero, then it's going to fly through the roof, and everything will be run on there. And the other half say, you know, it'll completely disappear and be outlawed, made illegal. The problem is, one side is right and the other side is wrong, but nobody knows who it is. So one of them things is going to happen. So what I mean is, you've got to make sure you hedge your bets. You've got to make sure you do not put all your eggs in one basket. If you put everything into crypto and the other half, or wrong half, the one side that says it's going to collapse and they're correct, then you're done. All right? What both sides do agree with, by the way, is that you should be in precious metals. So either small amounts of gold or silver. What I mean small amounts, don't go and buy this huge great big brick, you know, because if it did come up and you had to trade it one way or the other, you're walking down with a brick, which the gold and silver, the value of that, when they collapse the dollar, it will fly through the roof. Everybody agrees with that part. If you don't know that much about it, go and listen to Robert Kiyosaki. and the likes, all right, Mike Maloney, and listen to them, and they are like you know, well up on the gold and silver, and what's going to happen. Hiya. Nice little Jack Russell there. Oh. So you've got to make sure you don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not saying that like crypto will go wrong or bad. So it's like, you just don't know, dear. What if one side's right? Well, one side is definitely right, and the other side is 100% wrong. And like nobody knows it, probably them. When you're arguing with people who have just got their solid belief in it, no matter what, you're never going to win the argument with them. Because even if you were saying, look, this paint is black, and they believe it's white, they're still going to fight you. Even if you've got a pot of black paint. So it's pointless arguing. Just like listen and watch what's going on and spread around. So you want a little bit of crypto, you know, get a little bit of gold and silver. All right, there's like places, oh, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like a bullion thing of a Newcastle, and they're all over the country, and you can hire a safety deposit box for about 150 quid a year and going up depending on the size of the box, and you can put all your gold and silver in the, and it's not a bank, right? People say, yeah, no, but like, I want to hold it, but you don't want it in your house either, do you? Especially if the bank's shut for 3 months and there's no food around. Just imagine what's going to be like, because you know, you had old grannies fist fighting in the supermarkets for a bit of toilet paper. What they're going to be like when they can't get a tin of beans. But another system that I actually use, I trade, like I say, but I don't trade crypto, I don't trade foreign exchange, I don't trade stocks and shares or anything like that. I actually trade bets. I trade people's bets. And if you go onto, it's called betfair.com, Betfair Exchange, not on the gambling website, but on the exchange. It has to be on the exchange. It doesn't work on the website. It has to be the exchange, and you can trade on the exchange. And which I was doing some. I did 4 trades last night, and the other one didn't finish till well late because it was the Scotland game. Can't remember who they were playing now, which I'm not interested either. I'm only interested in the trade. And it doesn't matter on the result either, by the way. I'm not gambling. I don't say such and such is going to happen or they're going to win or score. Couldn't care less. But I'll go in, and what happens is, right, you pick a certain trade that you want, right? Now I actually used last night 4 separate games, all for the same trade, but it was all for the correct score. I'm going to turn this. Look at that. Lovely. Peaceful. There's the obelisk in the background. There's your barley. Isn't that barley? Is that right? See these bushes here? Look, that's just mainly nettles. Which again, you know, you can eat all of that. But that used to be all blackberry bushes. All the bush lines were all lined. There used to be blackberry bushes. Just gone over an hour now. But anyway, so I did these trades. I picked the correct score, and because what the gold trading, you need this software, special software, and you can watch the trades go up and down. I wonder where that path goes to. I don't think I've ever been along that path before. It's been a long time since I've come this way. I hope I'm going the right way. I suppose if I just keep heading this way, eventually I'm going to get home. Maybe tomorrow, but I'll get there in the end. It's very overgrown. Anyway, I'm getting strung and ripped to pieces here because it's really overgrown. Yeah, but so you can watch the trades go up and down. You can see that, and it shows you like a profit margin. Now it's not for everybody. I'm just telling you. So you know. Now I had to learn this. This was in 2016, maybe 17. And I learned it through a connection that I had actually got from when I was in Wembley. You know, before I went to Spain, and it got passed on from someone else to someone. Anyway, and there's a guy called Tony Langley, and he teaches how to do these systems. And then I travelled around the country and went to see a couple of different teachers how to do the same on the horse racing trading. Not betting on the horses. That's very hard. It's so fast, you know, and you don't do it when they're racing, by the way. You've got to do it all before the race. You don't bet on a horse race, you bet on the exchange of the bets before the race. But you've still got to be quick, you know. And you have to have an expert teach you how to do that, and you have to sit and watch these boards go up and down, and so you can pick the correct one to actually put a stake into, like take a trade. And then trade it again and sell it again, because you buy it off someone else and you sell it to someone else, and obviously the idea is to sell it at a profit. But the weird thing is, imagine like you've got stocks and shares, and everything's like buy low, sell high, right? Well, this can be either, because you can do what they call lays or backs. So you can buy lays or backs, and then if you're buying a lay, you want it to go high. Sorry, no, you want it to go high. But if you're doing backs, you want the price to drop, and you make a profit. Yeah. So, don't know exactly how to explain it. You know, like I know how to do it.
Come on, guys. Thank you.
Hi, are you all right?
Thank you.
Hiya.
Hiya, thanks very much.
No worries. It's a bit
Bit of a
overgrown
slow
at the
one.
minute, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. I've never seen it like that.
Ah, right. There's a lake on the other side there. That's why I've never seen this before. I've never been here before. There's the lake. It's usually I'm on the other side of it. There's a swan over there with some mothers, with some babies. Mother swan with some babies. But you wouldn't be able to see it. Ah, right. I'm miles away from where I thought I was. I wonder what time it is. I've got Zoom calls to do this afternoon. Do you think he's going to send some search parties out for me? I didn't intend going this far. I was just enjoying the walk. But yeah, I mean, that's a different way, you know, but you've got to learn how to do it, and I can't teach you. I really can't. I'm not telling you. And it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint-hearted. You've got to learn how to do it. And it takes a while to learn how to do it. And I'm still practicing on the horse racing. I went down to Yorkshire, seen this guy in Yorkshire, and I sat in his office all day learning how to do this. And it was still really hard. And it still takes me a long time to work it out. And I watch and watch and watch. And I get it, you know. And this guy was using like stakes, he calls them, of 200 quid. So he's putting like £200 on this. And this is, remember, this is all before the race starts. Right, you've got to do it before the race starts. Oh, there's a bird watching hut. You know, and he's putting £200 in. The price is flying up, and I can see he's, you know, and then he makes a profit of like, you know, 50 quid and cashes out. You know, he sells it to someone else. And they're not losing, you know. Obviously, someone who's done a wrong trade has lost. But there are so many different things out there to actually do for you, where you can have either a full-time income or a part-time side hustle that you can help yourself get out of the matrix, you know. Aye, alright. Oh, I'm not sure where I'm going. Do you know that? I'll stop the video soon. But that and you know what? That's the truth of it. Now remember, all of this, this fiat currency is going to be collapsed and replaced very soon. The dollar, right? Remember the pound. What is it backed by? It's only backed by the dollar. All of these 200 countries that originally took them on, that have now dumped it, by the way. All right, like China, Russia, India, Brazil, South Africa. Most of the African countries now have actually got rid of the dollar completely. So they are de-dollarizing at a rate. So the pound itself, the euro, right, it's all backed by the dollar, and the dollar is backed by nothing. It was gold, then they got rid of it in 1971, and then they backed it with the oil, with the petrodollar, when they went to Henry Kissinger went to Saudi. But now they've got rid of Saudi, just now sided with Russia and China, and they're selling it in all of their own currency, and they're getting rid of the dollar. So because of that, the euro and the pound, which are like clinging onto the dollar, right, for all it's worth, it's going to collapse, because it's going to go down with the dollar, and it's all going to go to zero. All done on purpose, all set up and being worked on for decades and decades and decades, all just to control you. It's all just about control. So the only way to actually work with the matrix is to make sure that they can't control you. Now money and food is how they control you. So if you don't get yourself into a position where, you know, you can't have a little bit more control of your food and your money, then you are always going to be swallowed by the matrix. And the whole ridiculous thing of all of the distractions is to stop you realizing that. All of those distractions. Wow, I truly do think I am lost, you know that. Coming up to a, hopefully this isn't a dead end. You know, and that's about being public and private, and knowing how to manage this journey. And unfortunately, there is just as many wrongdoers and evil on this, what they call the truth community, an opinionated community, as there is on the 13 family side. Well, they're all working for the 13 family, so don't care what they say. Oh look, there's a big pheasant. Oh, there's loads of birds there all feeding. Pheasants as well. You'll not see that. You wouldn't be able to see it. I'm going to put that there. They've got a fence on the holes. Even if you went through, you might see the pheasant. Can you see it over there? Ooh. Still in the, I'm coming up with some houses now. And I don't know where I am. Or what I'm supposed to do. Or how I got on the other side of that. You can go in and you can look at the water. I think I'll go in and look at the water. Past this gate, close the gate. See if I can get out on the other side, the side I thought that I was on and supposed to have been on. But there's just so much going on now, all about ruining your life and controlling your life. Now I've actually got a meeting. Like I say, I had that meeting with the financial expert, trust expert last week. Later this week I've got a meeting again with a multimillionaire who is fully aware. A multimillionaire fully aware. And he tries to help people, you know, but he tries to help them get out of the trap. right? Once you get out of the trap, then you can maybe have some control of what happens to you, rather than being controlled by them and controlled by the CBDCs and end up, because they can just switch that off whenever they want. You say something they don't like, it'll be off. You do something they don't like, it'll be off. Look what they did to Canada. They just shut everyone's bank accounts down. Why? Because they protested, you know, took all the money. And if they can do that now, can you imagine what they can do when they can actually do it, like, you know, just by wherever you are in the world, you know. Yeah, so I've got a meeting with him, and you know, he's all about helping. He doesn't mind, you know, helping others, and then for me to help you by what he's given to me. So that's the difference. So we're all trying to help. So whatever information he gives to me, I can pass on to you, all right, with, you know, his grace. He's, yeah, do it, get it, help others. There's another bird watching hut. Oh, is this all it is? Does it stop here? Oh, does that mean I've got to go back again? There's another of these fences. I can see all of the this one's locked as well. Yeah, can't go in this area, it's protected, it says. You can sit there and feed them. Oh dear. Thought I was going to escape. I'm in a matrix now, I'm completely lost. I'm wandering around, it's like a maze. Yeah, but anyway, so I think what I'll do is I'll just stop now, because it's gone on for a while. And like I say, later in the week I'm going to be having a meeting with this guy, who hopefully, you know, is going to give me a bit more information that I can pass on to others. You know, because I'm doing many other things to try and protect myself, and passing that information on to you to protect yourself from the evil that is about to be done to us. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop the video here. I'll just turn it around for a bit, show you what. That's the way I'm going to go back. That's the way I came. It's just a tiny little pathway, and it goes up to there, but that's just a dead end. So just surrounded by trees and bushes. So I'll go up there, see where I end up. I'm in England. Alright, anyway, you take care, and I will see you all soon. Hopefully, anyway, I get out of here. Take care, bye.